I think we're alive. Edgar, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am doing okay, man. I'm doing all right. Let me give me 1 second. I'm going to bring us up because I have to be able to see when people are asking us questions, man. There you are. You look beautiful, dog. You look marvelous. You look absolutely marvelous.
Oh, thank you.
There's a cultural reference nobody gets but me and 6 other old guys, right? All right, we're almost there, brother. Oh, we got plenty of people on. Excited. Hey, Blue Lantern's here. Siegfried's here. Raymond Blount. EMH. Catherine, good to see you. Michael Liebert, there he is, the myth, the man, the legend himself. So, Edgar, the reason I'm looking at everybody here is because this is literally our first 7 p.m. presentation. And I was like, we're going to have like 3 people, and we have a good crowd. So I'm glad to see that. Jose Braden, good God, everybody's here. Look, I'm not giving away free money today, people. So, all right. I see some new faces too. Gypsy Path, welcome aboard. Also old enough to remember that's SNL skit. Thank you very much. There's nothing worse than making old cultural references that nobody gets. 23 skidoo, kids. So it must be me. Edgar, I'm just reading the chat window. Bear with me a minute. And he's like, what's this all about? Hey, man, it's just for fun. All right. Actually, what I'd like to do is introduce Edgar Salinas. A lot of you guys actually know Edgar. You've been on the YouTube channel more than once. Good to see you again, sir. Say hello, Edgar.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, I have my little hacker on outside trying to get in. My hacker being my little kid.
Well, be careful, man. You know, don't hack yourself to oblivion and suddenly the Zoom meeting crashes or something like that.
He always gets through my firewall, but today I put some extra security.
You have a kid, a child.
I have 2 kids
who can punch through your firewall.
Yeah, my door is the firewall. They always get through it.
Ah, okay. No, you had me scared. I was like, I remember the old cartoon, The Jetsons, and they're in the home, and all of a sudden you hear an explosion. It's like, Jetson, Elroy, are you splitting atoms again? You know, and it's like, no, okay. So
Michael will know what I'm talking about.
Door.
Yeah, Michael knows what I'm talking about. During the cohort, they always came in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but we're good now. Sorry.
Cool. So, Edgar, one more small favor before we get into this. Can you turn your volume up in one way or another? Is that possible?
I can attempt to, yes.
Very good. No, you had me totally. Oh, we got a great crowd here. Wen 87, good to see you, man. Betlin, good to see you. Bill Jeske, good to see you. Red 5, standing by. Burra Mobanga, we got a question already, Edgar, while you're working on your volume. I'm new in IT. Where should I start my IT journey? You are in the right place right now, man. I'm actually, Edgar, I'm actually going to be heading over to Louisiana here in the beginning of February, and I'm going to be giving a presentation. I've got a fascinating presentation. It's basically like, so you've graduated from high school. Now what the hell are you going to do? And so I talk about including CyberNow Labs is one of the 4 paths that I put up there. All right, so Edgar, let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. Okay. I hope most of y'all know Edgar. For those of you who don't, what was your handle on YouTube?
It's just Edgar Salinas.
It was. Okay, I thought so too. I wanted to make sure that's accurate. So guys, do keep in mind, we're starting here at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we go until Edgar gets bored, basically. So Edgar, feel free to talk as long or as short as you want, man. What I'm interested in more than anything else is your journey. I want to talk about it. You know, we can talk about the steps. That's fine. But what I'm more interested in is the work ethic, the personal philosophies. You know what I mean? What was going on in your brain while you were going through CyberNow Labs. So first of all, Edgar, give us the Reader's Digest version of the Edgar Salinas story.
Okay, so basically, I've been working in IT for about 15 years, but nothing related to cybersecurity. It was all web development. Basically, I was with the same company that entire time.
Huh.
And I kind of got to a point where I realized my family's growing, but my career is not, type thing. And I was kind of getting tired of doing web development. And so I had to kind of think about what I wanted to do. And I actually have a friend that does do cybersecurity, and he kind of talked to me about what he does, and it kind of sparked my interest. So I looked into it, and I decided to do the Security Plus certification before CyberNow Labs. I had my certification before.
This was pretty recent though, right? That you did Security Plus.
January, no, it was June 2021.
Yeah, okay. In my opinion, that's recent.
Yeah, so it's been about a year and a half.
Okay, so you get the Security Plus, then what do you do?
So I start applying to jobs, and I guess nobody was calling. So I had to decide, well, and I knew why nobody was calling, because I had zero experience in cybersecurity, and who's going to hire someone with no experience? Or only because I have a Security Plus, I shouldn't expect to get a job in cybersecurity. I mean, it's possible, but you're going to have to find a very entry-level job that might not pay
Absolutely,
what you're being paid before. And I didn't have that option. So I had to figure out, how can I get experience and get my foot in the door? And actually, you were the one that introduced me to CyberNow Labs.
Yeah, so just for in full disclosure here, folks, National Cyber Group bought me out. So Total Seminars is now a wholly owned subsidiary of National Cyber Group. National Cyber Group also bought a company called CyberNow Labs. So again, for full transparency, I am an investor in CyberNow Labs, Edgar. So I mean, I just want to make sure everybody knows that. So
yeah. So, but you didn't physically tell me, hey, Edgar, come check out CyberNow Labs, or it wasn't like that. You had made a post saying, hey, I'm joining National Cyber Group, and they're going to be the company I'm working for. And at first I thought, well, that sucks, because I was like, well, we're going to lose Mike and Total Seminars. But then you said no, but I'm still going to be working with Total Seminars, doing things with them. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when I looked into National Cyber Group, that's when I started seeing they had a CyberNow Labs. And you mentioned that you really like them because you get actual hands-on experience at a SOC. And that's exactly what I needed.
Edgar, what's a SOC? Not everybody's going to know what that is.
So it's a security operations center. Basically, you're looking at all endpoints in a network environment, making sure that nothing malicious is going on in each one. You're kind of monitoring the network traffic in the environment.
And a SOC is going to be a group of people who are monitoring often maybe just a data center or perhaps a distributed network under a single enterprise, okay? 15 years ago, folks, SOCs didn't exist. You had you had in a data center, you had the guys who did everything. And that's from basic network administration to back then basic security. But because of laws, because of sophistication of the internet, the sophistication of attacks, pretty much if you have a data center or a distributed network of some kind, you now have a group of guys or gals, of course. I'm sorry, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. We don't differentiate gender. We just say guys. And your all's job is to monitor and mediate attacks, right?
Yeah, so that's basically what we do. Is anytime we see an alert, we have to figure out, is it a positive issue or a positive non-issue, or was it a false positive, things like that. And if it's something critical, you have to get to it really quick. Like there's rules you have to follow. If you don't tend to that within 30 minutes, you could run into serious issues.
Sure. So yeah. CyberNow Labs provides what they call the Unboot Camp. It's roughly a 6-month program, a little shorter than that. I don't know why anybody can call a program that lasts 6 months of boot camp, but whatever. And
No.
they provide real training where you actually work in a SOC. It's not a virtualized SOC. It's the real McCoy. It's a working SOC. And it's the equivalent of like, if you were going to be doing automobile training, they basically hand you a wrench and slide you under the car on day one. So, so Edgar, what was the experience at CyberNow Labs like? I mean, you know, kind of give me a run through on that, and don't be afraid to be detailed.
Yeah. So what they first do, the first 8 weeks, I believe, is they prepare you for Security Plus. And that was a good experience because the instructors they have are very good. They're very detailed. And if you ever have issues, they will, or not issues, but like if you have trouble understanding something, they will help you and make sure that you understand. They really prepare you for the Security Plus exam. I had already passed the exam, but even after going through their Security Plus preparation, I wish I had gone through it that way because it's so detailed. Things are, it just sticks with you the way they teach it, all the concepts. And after that, you do the hands-on portion. That's when you start learning the tools. You start with like Proofpoint, where you learn how to take care of phishing emails, things like that.
Yep.
Then you do EDRs, which is it's like the enterprise antivirus, basically. It's an endpoint detection response. So it's like they cover IBM Q Radar. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's the SIM. They cover Sentinel-1 and so it's Sentinel-1. Oh my gosh, I forgot the other one. Because I really like Sentinel-1. Oh, the other one's CrowdStrike, Falcon.
CrowdStrike. Oh yeah.
That one's good, it's detailed, but I feel like I like Sentinel-1. That's just my preference. There's a lot of people that like the other one as well. So it just depends what you like.
So what's important here is the actual course is a remote course. You're doing this out of your house, right?
Yes. My classes were the remote people. They started at 6 p.m. Central, and they were done around 9 p.m. Central. And that was Monday through Thursday. And then Saturdays, you did 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central.
Hey, Edgar, they're telling you to, I know I asked you to turn the mic up. They're asking you to turn it down now. Sorry about that, man. They're saying you're throwing some pops out there. All right, so so you were doing it Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Those were your 3 big days, right?
Okay, so it's Monday through Thursday, and then Saturdays.
Okay, so but Monday and Wednesday is more like a lab session, right?
Correct. So I believe Monday and Wednesday were labs, and Tuesday and Thursday were actual courses, or vice versa. Right. I forget.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, the labs are really nice because you go over the material you learned the day before, and you can ask a lot of questions. Is my mic okay now?
Yeah, everybody's happy now. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I really liked CyberNow Labs because it was very detailed. You learned every aspect of the tools. You were able to put it into practice. You were able to ask questions when you understand something. I feel like I left that course, or not course, but I don't want to call it a boot camp. I guess apprenticeship, I should call it. Really knowing how to use every tool that was presented to me.
So you came out of this feeling pretty competent. And folks, what I need to stress here, these tools we're talking about, like SharePoint and all these are the tools that people are actually using in functioning SOCs every day. And and that's what CyberNow Labs is all about. It's the practical knowledge.
Yes.
Even you said the word apprenticeship, Edgar.
Yeah, because it's really learning on the job type thing. That's how I felt it was, learning on the job, because you were doing tickets. If you don't understand a ticket, you can ask, hey, you can call it like you were pushing it up to a tier 2, I guess. That's what you do in the SOC. When you're tier 1 and you don't understand something, you push it up to a tier 2 and they can help you or not help you, but they kind of take care of that higher level ticket.
So do we call that escalation? Is that the right term to use?
Yes, correct. Escalation.
Okay.
And but what I will say about this program is you can't just expect to attend the class and do the minimum. I'm sorry, someone's has speed racer over here. Right. So yeah, so you have to do the work, and also you have to put in extra work afterwards. Like Michael said in the chat, you have to practice, practice, practice. Everything you learn, you have to practice. Just because they teach you doesn't mean that's all you need to do. You have to do extra work afterwards. So it was a big sacrifice of time, but it was well worth it. So if you put in the work early, it's gonna pay off at the end. You're gonna have an easier time transitioning from CyberNow Labs to finding a career or job afterwards. Because the interview process, that's because you're gonna be preparing a resume with CyberNow Labs as well. They're gonna prepare you for that.
Okay,
But
wait. Edgar, I got to interrupt again. So you graduate through the program, okay?
yes,
Ta-da, graduation, ba. Then that's when the real work kicks in, as far as I'm concerned, because
uh,
CyberNow Labs expects you to be generating the resumes, getting it out there, right? Is that accurate?
well, I think the real work starts from the beginning of the hands-on section. Like
Okay,
once you start learning things, you need to put in what you're learning into practice, because if you don't, you're going to move on to the next tool, or you're going to forget about the tool you just learned if you don't practice it. So once you
sure.
start learning the tool, you need to start practicing it, because they tell you, okay, now you learned this tool, go look at the alerts for this tool and write tickets. So if you don't write any tickets in practice, you're kind of missing 50% of the work. Because if you're just learning it and not putting it into practice, it's not the same. If you put it into practice, it's going to stick with you. It's going to be like the palm of your hand. You're going to know exactly everything when you see it.
Sure. I mean, this is the thing that I tell people, because everybody's like, CyberNow Labs does this. Give us 6 months and we'll give you a 6-figure income. But to me, it's more of a you really have to be a certain type of person, in my opinion, because it's hard work,
Mhm.
and it's a real effort thing. And I get a little disappointed when people, because it's like the full retail price for this course is $6,800. I know there's all kinds of discounts involved there too, but
Yeah.
I get nervous when people sign up for the course and drop, a few $1,000s and kind of expect it to be handed to them.
Nope, that's not how it works.
Yeah, it's not how it works at all, folks. I mean, it's a very aggressive course. If there is a reason to call it a boot camp, Edgar, in my opinion, it's because of the workload. I mean,
Yes.
they put a fire hose in your mouth and pretty much set it off.
Yeah, because you're dedicating about 2 to 3 hours every night, but then you have to put in the practice afterwards, what you learned. Because there are labs, but of course you're not gonna just practice during the labs. Labs are for questions and going over what you learned. But to put the tool in practice, you have to do it on your own time.
And
Because
the cool part is CyberNow Labs actually sets it up so you can do that.
yeah, you can set up your own hours to do the practicing part. They teach you how to use the tool very effectively. They go through every option, very thorough. Then afterwards, that's when you have to do your due diligence and practice with the tool, with looking at alerts and writing tickets on alerts that are related to that tool. Because
Gotcha.
if you just go to the session and go there for 2 to 3 hours and then don't ever visit it after the week is over, then you're not going to get any
I completely agree.
experience.
Okay, so let's move forward here a little bit to graduation day.
Yes.
So you're done. Technically, you've gone through the program. What starts to happen? What's going on after that?
So when you graduate, they start, what do they call it? It's kind of like a mentorship. They assign you a mentor, and what they help you do is kind of They go over your resume again. They help you with interview questions, things like that. They also ask you what you need help with. What are you struggling with, or what do you have questions about? And they will. It can be a one-on-one thing, or it can be a group session. So like in my mentor sessions, there were about 7 people, but with my mentor, I did one-on-one sessions as well. So it's not just the group setting. They also do one-on-one sessions.
So give me an example of a couple of these one-on-one sessions. What were, pick whatever you want. What was being talked about in these sessions?
Yeah, so for example, when I got assigned my mentor, I was already gonna do my first the interview that I'm for the job that I currently have. So I was already talking to a recruiter for the job that I have right now.
Oh, you were kind of doing something on your own there.
Yeah, so I started looking for jobs way before, well, I started kind of looking at the job market way before the hands-on it was over. I think maybe 3 months in, I started looking at jobs, see what the market was like. So I was doing some research on my own.
Ah, clever. I've
So
never heard anybody doing that before. That's
yeah,
a smart idea, Edgar.
I didn't wait until the end to start looking at the job market, because I wanted to be prepared when the CyberNow Labs session was over. I wanted to be ready and know exactly what I wanted to apply for.
Did your tutors recommend that, or is this something you did on your own initiative?
I initially did it on my own, yeah. I actually reached out to the workforce team to see if they can do mock interviews for me, things like that. But once I got a little taste of a mock interview, I realized I was not ready to do mock interviews. So I stopped that. I just kept doing research on the job market to see what was available. I just wanted to see how many jobs were opening daily. Like I was getting so many alerts for jobs, like there were so many jobs available. But
Yeah, it's funny, everybody talks about how, there's a lot of layoffs and things going on, but not in this particular niche, man. The demand is absolutely outrageous. Hey,
yeah,
Edgar, I got we got a couple of questions. I was wondering if you could answer these questions for me. You ready?
sure.
So Gypsy Path is saying, do they help with job placement? How would you respond to that?
Job placement, yeah, because like I said, they have a workforce team. They work with you on your resume. They make sure your resume is professional and that it covers everything that you've learned in CyberNow Labs and everything you put into I guess everything you have experience with. But like I said, they give you that mentor. They're the ones that help you cater your job search. So if you're not familiar with the cybersecurity industry or anything like that, they will guide you and tell you what kinds of jobs to search for that will align with what you learned at CyberNow Labs. Because CyberNow Labs definitely gets you ready for an entry-level cybersecurity job. So as long as so as far as job placement, that's how I see that they help you.
Okay, but the important thing to stress here is that you kind of did your own recruiter thing, which is interesting.
Well,
Often when people say, do they help with job placement, Edgar, what they're saying is, can I just sit on my butt and wait for someone to hand me a job?
no, that's why I was trying to say, like, they help you with the resume, but you have to put in the work as far as the experience, because they're not going to give you, like I said, they teach you how to use the tool very thoroughly. You're going to learn the tool great, but if you don't practice it, it's like when you went to school, like in math, you learned the math, the equations or whatever in class, but if you didn't put it into practice, you're going to forget it the next week. It's kind of
So,
the same concept.
okay, so even after you've graduated, you still have practice opportunities with CyberNow Labs, right?
Oh yeah,
So
so
you can continue to work on your skill set.
they do SOC shifts. They assign groups of people, kind of, they call it SOC shifts, as if you were an actual in an actual SOC shift. So you had your agenda. Like first you I don't know, each SOC shift was different. You did what you wanted with your group. So there was a SOC leader in the SOC shift, and we all did, like, for every tool we did a ticket in our SOC shift. That's what we did. So that way we were practicing every tool at least once a week. So we were constantly practicing and practicing. So like I said, that's where you had to dedicate your time in the SOC shift, because you were going to CyberNow Labs, the class, but then you had to do your SOC shift afterwards. So that's where you put in your, and there it is scheduled. You do schedule your SOC shift, but you still have your 2-hour sessions with CyberNow Labs. Then you do SOC shift afterwards.
Gotcha. All right. So
But job
Edgar,
placement,
actually,
no.
I'm sorry.
So job placement, no. It's not like you just go to the class and you're gonna find a job. No, that's not how it works. You have to do the work, get the experience, because if not, you're not gonna do well in your job interview.
Okay. So what I want to do here is take a moment and kind of add to what Edgar said, and that is CyberNow Labs, a national cyber group, are continually going to employers all over the world, meeting with them, connecting with them, and their main goal is to generate a good reputation for CyberNow Labs graduates. But so this is Gypsy Path asking this question, Edgar, and she says, I mean, do they help with leads? Gypsy, you don't need leads. The demand is so crazy right now that as long as CyberNow Labs can make you pretty enough in terms of a good resume and experience,
Exactly.
that would be an unnecessary step. CyberNow Labs is going to tell you where to look, how to make your searches, how to make your resume look right, you know, what you need to be studying after. It puts all of these together. The Solarium Commission report that came out, the last report was 2021 now, I think, shows that we have over 700,000 empty slots for SOC analysts right now. So what they do not need to, and Gypsy, not to get mad at you because I'm not, but it's like they're not going to just hand it to you. There's so much demand out there, as Edgar just explained, that what we need to do is make sure you look good when you get those resumes out. Is that fair, Edgar?
Yeah, your resume is going to get you the interview.
And and how to do a good interview too, right?
Yeah, so you do do mock interviews. They are very helpful, and they give you resources so that you're not, how do I want to say this? So that you're not, so you have least chances to be surprised at an interview, basically, is what I'm saying. So
the term I use, Edgar, is they make you pretty.
Yeah, so I'll put it this way. When I did my interviews, I wasn't too surprised with much. There was one thing that surprised me, but that's just the way it is. They can't prepare you for everything because every company needs something different. So they're going to ask different types of questions.
Oh, Edgar, when I used to do interviews, if I had somebody who really knew their stuff, I would literally keep asking questions until I could crush them, you know. But you know, by the time, if I'm reduced to that point, they've already probably totally scored on the technical interview. All right, so Edgar, so from graduation day, you're getting these resumes out, right? Mm-hmm. So you're doing some one-on-one courses. So from graduation day to the day you got a job was how long?
Like 2 weeks, I think.
All right, so 2 weeks is incredibly fast.
But I had applied for that job, I think mid-November.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So, and it took them about almost a month to call me. And by the time I scheduled my interview and all that, we had already graduated, and then I started my mentorship. But as soon as I started my mentorship, I had my technical interview with the recruiter from the company that I work for. So it was the company's recruiter that contacted me because I applied directly to them. So yeah. So my mentor really, the mentor really did help me though, because she helped me prepare for that technical, or not the technical, the recruiter interview. And then she helped me with the technical interview. She kind of
told me. So
who
was, may I ask who your mentor was?
Yeah, so it's Amine. I don't know how to say her last name. I'm sorry.
All those crazy Turks over at CyberNow Labs.
Yeah,
I
she's
finally
great.
got Hassan and Omer right. So yeah,
Oh, Hassan is great. He was very engaged with us in the after in the what they call it, the interview preparation. He was really engaged with people, and so was Richard. But yeah, Amina is my mentor. I guess I should say still my mentor, I guess.
nice.
But she really helped me prepare for that. Basically telling me things like, make sure you elaborate, don't give short answers, make sure you're giving a thorough answer. Don't just give the basics, because you want to let them know that you know what you're talking about in a detailed manner, that you don't just know the basics and that's it.
Cool.
And
All right. Well,
and
Edgar,
also,
I got to ask this question. I got to do it subtly here.
sure.
I want to know how much your starting salary was, and I'm not going to ask you, of course, to say it out loud, but are you closer to 100 grand or 50 grand? You don't have to answer. I'm just,
Well, I'll say it's closer to the 100, but I have 15 years experience of web development. So I had something to work with to negotiate.
ah,
You know what I mean? So you have to negotiate yourself. So if you're coming from a background that is not IT related, it doesn't mean that you can't ask what you want for it, but you need to know that when you have that first interview and you tell them you want a certain salary, and then they look at your past experience and they're going to say, maybe, well, you know what, I think we're going to go with someone else that has more experience or something. So you got to balance, you have to balance out. You have to balance that out, because you could lose an opportunity because you're asking for too much. So don't pass up an opportunity just because of salary. Get your foot in the door and then work your way up.
and your employment, you have a health plan, you got vacation time. It's a normal job. So this is the thing that drives me crazy with so many people when they come into CyberNow Labs and they're like, I don't have any experience. And the reality is they've been working for 10 years in fleet maintenance and stuff like that. And folks, fleet maintenance companies, they have SOCs too. And it's always just a matter of taking that resume and pointing it to the companies where you already have some experience. I've had people go, well, I'm just a teacher. And it's like, well, there's lots of teaching programs out there that have SOCs. Leverage your knowledge and experience to get there, and you'll do great. So Edgar, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I will remind y'all, before I went through CyberNow Labs, I was getting 0 calls when I applied to jobs because I had 0 experience in cybersecurity. So they're interested in you knowing cybersecurity and being able to keep up with that industry, because it's constantly changing. So you're always studying in cybersecurity. You're never gonna learn once and know everything. No one knows everything. It's so vast and everything changes. So they want to know
Edgar,
that you're eager to learn.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They want to know that you're eager to learn and you're
Sure.
going to keep learning. That's what they want.
So the next question I have is, so your experience as a web developer, in your opinion, helped you get a higher starting salary more than your CNL experience got you in the door, but then you were able to okay, I want to make sure I understood that. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, but you have to do your research. What is the entry-level salary in your area? You can use that as a way to negotiate as well. Because if you can prove that you know how to do the work, then they're gonna work with you because you prove that you know how to do the work. So don't.
Cool.
So
Edgar, we got some more questions rolling in. I'm going to ask you to answer these. Ali asked, what are the prerequisites to enroll with CyberNow Labs program?
If I remember correctly, the only one that I saw is you needed to be able to speak English, I think.
Well, I think the other one is you have to be able to show that you can work legally wherever you're looking to get a job.
Yeah.
That's the other thing they check into.
And there, yeah, it was that. And yeah.
So it's a fairly low bar.
Yeah, it's very easy to enter. And like I said, in my cohort, there was a lot of people that were not in tech IT at all. And at the end, they were very savvy in cybersecurity. They knew what they were talking about. So that's why I'm saying, put in the work when you start. And you'll see by the end, you're going to be proficient in all the tools and understand all the cybersecurity lingo. Because like I said, they're very thorough when they teach you all of this. But you have to put in the work. You can't just go to the class and that's all. You have to go to the class, do your own research on the side, especially in the cybersecurity or the security plus certification preparation. Read the chapter before they present the material, because that's going to help you, especially if you don't have an IT background. Read the chapter before the day of it being presented. That way, when it's presented, you already have a little bit of knowledge about it, and it's going to stick easier. So it's going to be easier for you to remember that. That's kind of the tip I give people.
Okay, so we got one more question coming in, Edgar. I'm 37 as an operations lead at a trucking company, but I have 20 plus years of computer knowledge because I ran a music studio out of my house for 5 years. Is it too late for me? And,
No.
and he said something to me, Edgar. He goes, by the way, I'm 6 months into your Udemy course. Hey, Raymond, do keep in mind, I've got a bunch of Udemy courses. So when you say your Udemy course, I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but thank you for that. Anyway, Edgar, how would you respond to Raymond?
It's not too late because I was going through his Udemy course too, the Security Plus, when I was 36, and now I'm 37. So
A baby.
It's not too late. I know someone that's way older than me, and they had a job before I did.
How much is way older? Don't make me feel bad here.
I'm just saying it because I want to give him a hard time, but he's not that much older than me. But he got a job before I did, and he did it by networking. He did really. I was really surprised. I was really surprised with him because he was quite the genius.
Did his first name start with the letter M?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Particular swarthy person. Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah.
What did people, and I know that, like, you know, I've actually helped with enrollment when people are thinking about jumping into CyberNow Labs. And, you know, I give them this big sermon. I'm like, don't do this if you don't have the work ethic. If you're not going to be going up to 85%, save your money, go become an electrician or something, you know? But I know a lot of people probably don't put in maximum effort. Are you familiar with people who may have done 80% of the work who are getting jobs? I'm just asking an opinion.
I'm going to say the people that I saw that were very active, they're at least getting calls. If that's how I would put it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Active. So yeah, you put it. I mean, I don't know how to quantify it, but you just have to spend a lot of time doing the work.
All right, folks. I mean, you heard it from the source here. Go ahead, Edgar. I'm sorry.
The more familiar you get with the tool, the easier you're gonna get into the job market. Because if you get an interview and you're just rapid fire answering questions because you're so used to it, or used to the tools or the cybersecurity lingo, they're gonna be like, oh, this guy really knows his stuff. We're gonna hire him because we want someone with this much knowledge. So it's just, so Hassan, he's one of the co-founders. The very first day we started, he said, you know, you're gonna have to put in the work. And I took that very seriously because I know how boot camps are portrayed. So I knew that I needed to put in the work because I didn't want to run into the issue of saying, well, finding someone that tells you, well, what's this boot camp about? I was afraid of that question. What's that boot camp about? So that's why I was very busy all that time, learning as much as I could because I didn't want to get that question. But I never did get that question. I never got the question of, what is the CyberNow Labs bootcamp? No one ever questioned me about that. So
So questions keep rolling in for you, Edgar.
Okay.
So Alucard is asking, how difficult would you say your job is? Do you often feel mentally exhausted after work?
Well, I've only been working for a week.
Just a week?
Yeah,
That's right. You pretty much just graduated. Yeah.
but so the reason I'm barely starting to work is that I had to get a clearance, and that took about a month.
You have
Or
that kind of sock job. Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
so
All right. We'll leave it at that. I understand once you say clearance,
yeah.
there's not as much you can talk about. But Alucard asked one more question, Edgar. Aside from the technical stuff, what other skills make somebody a great SOC analyst?
That's a good question. I guess you have to be motivated to learn new things or what's the right word to say? So this industry is always moving. There's always something new. You have to keep up with the threat actors and their methods. So you have to be willing to learn every day, look up news, see what's new, all the trends, anything like that. You have to be motivated to do that apart from doing your job on a daily basis. So you have to do extra work as well. So that's what's going to make you a great SOC analyst. Also to be able to multitask, because you never know, you might have a busy day, you're having a lot of alerts, you need to know how to handle that. So multitasking is probably a good one.
So how do you
Being
get your news? Do you use any tools like Feedly or anything like that?
Yeah, so actually I do Feedly, and I learned that from Richard Chapman.
Me too.
It's very useful. It's basically a tool where you subscribe to multiple news feeds, and they all are filtered in through Feedly. And you can mark it as read or unread, or you can save it to read later, things like that. So it's really nice.
Yeah, folks, it's called Feedly, Feedly. Just do a web search on it. It's a free tool, download it and play. You know, that's part of the fun.
Yeah. So yeah, my overall experience with CyberNow Labs, I really enjoyed it. I can't recommend it enough, but it's very important. You have to put in the work. Just like Hassan said, one of the co-founders, you have to put in the work. It's not going to, a job is not going to be given to you just by going through the program. You have to learn and put in the work. Those are the most important things. It's learning and putting in the work, because you're going to be, for example, I had a full-time job and I have 2 kids and a wife, and I pretty much didn't see them that much the entire 6 months. So it was a sacrifice and doing my full-time job. So it is possible, even if you're really busy. You just have to dedicate that time. And Sundays, those were pretty much the days that I focused to do my extra work, because I had nothing scheduled, no CyberNow Labs, no work, nothing like that. So that's the day I used to practice all the tools that I could. And
Nice.
I did lead a SOC shift for a while, but I felt like I had to leave it because I was just so time constrained. So I thought it was better for me to step down and kind of do it on Sundays. That's what I started doing. Sundays was my day to really put in
Nice.
practice on my own.
Oh, we got another question, Edgar. And I know, guys, you got to keep in mind, Edgar only has his own experience, all right?
Yeah.
So that's all he can really talk about. But Edgar, I'm going to throw this at you anyway. Do most of the jobs you get after finishing the training with CyberNow Labs require a security clearance? So Edgar, I'm going to morph this. Based on the jobs you were looking at, did most of them require a security clearance?
The ones I was looking at, yes, because my goal was to enter into Department of Defense contracts. That was my goal. But no, you don't. Every job doesn't require a clearance. I mean, I don't know, like, I saw Home Depot has a SOC. They're hiring. Home Depot is hiring, things like that. Like those are companies I'm sure don't require clearance because it's a commercial business. So yeah.
Gotcha. All
And
right.
some might require like a public trust clearance, but that's not as thorough, or I don't know what like a top secret clearance, that is more difficult to get versus a public trust. So yeah, there were a lot of jobs that I saw that did not require a clearance, but it was not, they just weren't interesting to me, I guess.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's a
Not
good
because
answer. Thank you.
not because they didn't pay well or not. It's just not. It was interesting as far as the work I was going to be doing, or I don't know how to explain that. Like I said,
All right.
I was doing research, so that's how I based what I was applying to.
Gotcha. So there's another question that came up, Edgar. I'm going to answer this one though. Ali was asking, I'd like to know if there are installment plans for the program. Okay, first of all, we don't mess with any student loan stuff. That just doesn't happen with CyberNow Labs. We certainly do have installment programs where you can put less money down and pay on a weekly basis. But then Edgar, I got to put in a plug for the Blue Chip program real quick. So what they also have is what's called the Blue Chip program. And the Blue Chip program, number one, you have to have Security Plus. Number two, you have to show up for 85% of the classes. And keep in mind, guys, Edgar was going way beyond just the classes. All right, he's putting in SOC shifts and stuff like that. And then number three, the moment you graduate, you have to show that you're putting out a minimum of 3 resumes per week. If you do those 3 things, you don't have to make any payments. They literally pause your payments until you get a job. So, and there is no endpoint to this. As long as you keep doing that, you're paused. And I can't imagine anybody not taking advantage of the Blue Chip program. Were you a part of that, Edgar?
Yes, I did get the Blue Chip award.
Yeah, so it's such a good deal. It's hard to miss. Hard to not pass up on.
And I believe if you don't have the Blue Chip, I don't quite remember if you get a mentor or not. I don't want to misspeak, so I'll leave that alone.
I haven't heard that particular one, but you ran through it, so we're going to abide by what you have to say. Man, Edgar, thank you so much for this input. Are there any other closing points, or did we cover them pretty good?
I mean, the main thing is put in the work. Put in the work early. That way, when you're done and graduated, you're going to find it easier to find a job because you're going to be more confident. Your resume is going to look way better because you know what you're talking about. You're going to be able to customize your resume to fit you and customize it for the job you're applying for. Because that's another thing. You have to customize each resume for the jobs you're applying to. And the other thing is they do recommend 3 resumes a week. I was doing 3 resumes a day.
Yeah, I would think that. I mean, there's enough openings out there that 3 a day sounds a lot more realistic to me.
Yeah, because in general, to find a job, from the research I did, it takes about 2 to 3 months to find a job. So that's why I started looking at. That's why I started looking in November, because I wanted to start around. I mean, it's just funny that it happened. I just wanted to start around February, but I started mid-January. So it just worked out. I don't know.
Yeah, for most people, it's a few months before you actually get the job. But keep in mind, even in that few months, that is, you're already hitting some interviews and, like anything else, looking for a job is a job. Some of them don't work out, blah, 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 that kind of a thing. But
yeah, so I guess another point is my experience. I applied to I'm going to say 50 jobs. I did get several calls, but the salary requirements sometimes didn't work out. So make sure you negotiate. If you do get calls, it's hard to say this, but because you might lose an opportunity, but don't get lowballed. Do your research. What is the salary average nationwide and in your area? So research and putting it in work. in CyberNow Labs. That's going to make you successful.
Outstanding.
If you just sit through it, you're not going to get anywhere.
Okay, we got a couple, one more quick question, which I'll answer, Edgar. Will there be a cohort for 2024? There will be many cohorts for 2024, folks. They come out every few months. So
they're about to start
that's
a new
it.
one Saturday.
Tolowit's asking, do you have to relocate for the job you got? No, you apply for jobs that you're willing to relocate to.
Yeah.
I
was only applying to on-site locally because I didn't want to relocate because I really like San Antonio.
I like San Antonio too. Hey, listen, Edgar, did you see a lot of remote work jobs?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Oh, really?
But I prefer, so it's a funny thing. I was applying to on-site jobs because I prefer to be there and see the people and learn from them. That's just my thing. But it did turn out that this job is remote, so I'm working from home.
Oh, really? Okay.
Without knowing that I was going to. But this job, the offices are here in San Antonio. So when they go back to the offices, we're going to be here in San Antonio. But yeah, there's a lot of remote jobs.
All right, Edgar, I got to ask one question. You don't have to answer it. DOD or DOJ?
DOD.
Yeah, I figured if you're in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, Edgar, please do not sign off. We're going to go ahead and wrap up, but don't stay there, okay?
Okay,
folks, thank you so much for attending. I got to tell you, a year and a half ago, I didn't even know CyberNow Labs existed. And Edgar has such a great success story. And I'm thrilled to have you on board. We're going to have a lot more folks. Edgar, do me a favor. Will you come back on in a few months and let us know how you've settled in and give a little bit more gems of wisdom like you did tonight?
Sure. And I guess I should have given my full disclosure earlier. I'm not good at speaking publicly. So
you're just talking to me, buddy.
I kind of ramble sometimes. So.
That's why I kept cutting you off. Don't get mad. It's all good.
Yeah.
You think I was born like this? No, I was born this ugly, but I had to practice talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm super Aspergery until I get in front of a camera. I don't know why it is. It took a while.
As long as you cut me off in the future, I'll come back on.
Happily cut you off, sir. De nada.
Okay.
All right. Hey guys, listen, thanks again for coming on board. So excited that we've got this new time slot in the evening. I was thrilled to see so many people on tonight. Clearly, I think this was a good idea. Thank you to Dave Rush for staying up late and helping out. Edgar, thank you for staying. Well, probably if I had to be doing it this time of day, I wouldn't have been able to get you, huh?
Yeah, if it was the other hour, I would not have been able to do it.
Well, okay, well, it worked out. Hey guys, have a great evening. This is Mike Meyers and Edgar Salinas from CyberNow Labs saying good night, and we will be back on Monday. I don't have the date in front of me. Edgar, when is Monday? What's the date for Monday?
Monday is going to be the 30th, I believe.
30th.
Yes.
And we'll be back on at 2 p.m. Monday for the regular Ask Mike Anything. Until then, this is Mike Meyers saying good night. Bye-bye, kids.